On this hot sheet, we go free format Friday, where I answer your questions from the week and your live calls. The number is 203-548-0417, 203-548-0417. The lines are open. Looking forward to talking to you live on this hot sheet. Today is Friday, September 1st, 2023. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Let's go. Friday, September the 1st. Let me know in the live comments which market you're tuning in from. The number should be up. Let's get it pinned in the comments. I actually don't see it in front of me, and I don't have it memorized. I think it's 203-548-0417. Is that it? I do have it memorized. 203-548-0417. If we could pin that into the comments, we're taking your live calls, answering your questions from the week here on this free format Friday. September 1st, important date. It's like better have the business plan done for the real estate professionals out there in the next 30 days because 2024, I say this all the time, 2024, the end of the year is like, mid-September, end of September, beginning of October. The new year is about to start, is essentially where I'm going, especially with our tracking of deals. So big month. September is the month of new beginnings, and I hope we're all ready for it. It's going to be an interesting time here. I know the people here on the hot sheet are ready for it. If you're just tuning into the hot sheet, maybe your first time, hit the subscribe. We do this every single Monday through Friday when the markets are open, live 9:30 on the East, 6:30 on the West. The markets won't be open on Monday, so we'll obviously be back on Tuesday. All right, 203-548-0417
We've
is
got
the
Ricky
number
from San Antonio already in the waiting room.
All right, we got Ricky from San Antonio. We'll take him now, and then I want to jump into, there is a little piece of news for the day that we've got to cover. We can't get off of this hot sheet without talking about the jobs data that just came out this morning, different from the jobs data that we covered on the stream there a couple of days ago. So let's take Ricky from San Diego, was it?
San Antonio. And Ricky, you are live with Byron.
Ricky, I'm sorry. Ricky from San Antonio.
Oh my goodness, so cool. You actually, this is so cool to feel. Like you got into the IG, you said, I'm going to do this old school. You used to have a radio show, and it's like 2023. We're in a YouTube stream. What? It's pretty cool. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for jumping in, Ricky. What do you got?
Man, well, a little bit of background, and I wanted to kind of just invite your mind, right? When I dove into real estate was when it was getting super hot. It was the heat of the market here in Texas and San Antonio. And let's just say I was still teaching, and I realized the immediate demand that it necessitated. I took a leap of faith. Market shifted. I was like, ooh, this is new. And I came to realize it was one of the most historic shifts that now we've been watching a quote unquote correction from. Would you say that's kind of a fair assessment?
Yeah. What year did you get in, Ricky? You said you got in when things were hot. I mean, it's always hot in Texas. I was just there last week. It was hot temperature wise, but obviously with the inbound migration that is flowing into Texas, the market is also hot. What year did you get in?
I jumped in, I got licensed 2 years ago. This was in September, right? It was actually 2 years ago, exactly to the T today. And so 2021, and then I took the leap of faith. I looked back and I was like, okay, we can hold on for, I don't know how long. And I just took the chance, and thankfully business came through. But at the very beginning, I was wondering, is something wrong with me?
Hey, so Ricky, here's the deal. 2 year agents, and I talked to a lot of agents that have been in 2-3 years or, similar time frame as you, where they got in when there was a high transaction volume happening, over 6 million. We're down to just above 4 million, right? So we've lost 33% of the transactions in 12 months with the Fed ratcheting up the interest rate in the 10-year and the 30-year following. And so what I always, people almost don't believe me. But Rick, if you can think about this, in 2012, 2013, I had over 50 listings under my name at one time. Why did I have so many listings? Well, there was high inventory. It was it was much easier to go out and get a listing. I was building my brand through listings, and it was total opposite market of today. I used to have to beg agents and brokers, hey, bring anybody by my listing. I don't care if it's your cousin and they're thinking about buying in 3 years. I just need a showing. Let's do a broker's open. I need to get 15 agents through to sign a sheet to give me some input on price so I could share that with the seller, just to show them that we have warm bodies coming through the home. That was what was going on in many parts of the country, and certainly in the Northeast. And so the markets today in 2 years can be much different from each other. Just like you've experienced 2 years ago to today, it can be much different. But agents almost don't believe that it could be the complete opposite when we talk about inventory. The markets will shift, Ricky, but what will never shift is, just like then, I had to have more conversations than everybody else in order to find those buyers for my listings. And what do I need to do now? I need to have more conversations than anybody else to find those listings in that inventory for my buyers. It's just the conversations flipped to the other side of the aisle, but the same formula wins. It's the conversations. I see Mark Davison in the live chat from 1000 Watt, the branding agency of choice in the real estate space. And he talks about building, a specific brand for you and your business and how you're going to be seen. You want to have that as a conversation, and then conversations layered on top.
I would say that it's so vital, the value of understanding personal brand. Is that kind of what you're hitting on?
Yeah, I'm hitting. You got to be known, right? But being known isn't going to be enough without. Listen, everything's changing to some degree with the AI and all that stuff, making the administrative side of things probably a little bit more streamlined. Probably more so in the next 2 to 5 years than maybe the next 12 to 24 months. Our value is always going to our value is always going to be in relationships. It's a relationship game. Be hanging out in the places with the people that you want to be doing business with. And anytime you have a free moment, lay off of scrolling and jump into calling and texting people in your community. Ricky, best of luck, man. You're in the right business. Keep grinding. Jack up the conversations. Whatever you did yesterday, do double today. And that's going to give you the energy heading into this weekend, brother. Thanks for calling in. 203.
Thank you so much, Byron. Blessing through your journey. Ricky Ray, the Realtor in San Antonio. Woo!
Hey, Ricky Ray, the Realtor. Is that your Instagram handle? All right. Well,
yes,
Ricky,
sir. Also, Ricky Ray, Curious Observer.
There you go. Go follow Ricky down in San Antonio. Ricky, thanks for the call. The number is in the live chat, 203-548-0417. The lines are open.
Yeah, we got Jason waiting in the waiting room. So, Jason, if you want to give a call back, Jason's got a great question. I think
is he out of the waiting room? Because I could take him now.
Let me get him back on the line. Hold on.
As we're waiting for Jason, you're gonna call him? Go ahead. You can call him.
Jason. Yes. You are on with Byron live on the hot sheet.
Hi, Jason. What do you got?
All right. How you doing today?
Doing good, brother. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on. So I think by way of background, the work I've been doing to fight against NAR and what's happening with these rampant sexual harassment claims.
Hey, Jason, can you
that's taking place there?
Hey, can you get in a quieter space?
Yeah, I'm gonna move out. Hold on. I'm gonna move over here. You caught me in the gym. Help. Is this better now?
Much.
Yeah, much better. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. All right, guys. So first of all, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. I love all the work that you do. As you know, or you probably know, last night, the NAR executive board decided to keep CEO Bob Goldberg on, despite all of these allegations. Not just allegations, I mean, rampant claims. I don't know how much evidence one needs that this happened under his watch, and he won't even acknowledge there's a problem. He told the Times that he does not believe there's a problem with sexual harassment within NAR. Now, if you don't believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. How can someone who can't acknowledge the problem fix the problem? This all happened under his watch. The power structure that enabled rampant sexual harassment within the organization is still there. How will anything change? How are you going to build back trust within the rank and file, both with the membership? We're paying dues for this, as you reported on earlier in the week. I mean, our dues should be going for what? Protecting against the lawsuit, right? how much money is being spent for paying off claims with NDAs that are signed? So look,
yeah, Jason, I'm with you there. 100% of dues should go towards protecting buyer agency in this country, because we know that buyers shopping in the affordable price ranges more than anything are going to be hurt if buyer agency goes away. So I believe 100% of our dues, 90% of our dues, should be going into that fight. The facts are that last year, or 2021 rather, because we don't have last year's numbers from NAR yet, 2021, we spent $46 million on Hava's marketing group. Hava's, they're going to be marketing to do what? To get more members so that they can keep the dues up, so that Bob Goldberg, the CEO that they're standing behind, is going to be paid his $2.5 million nut. And it's probably more now. That's what it was in 2021. That CEO number always climbs. When a CEO retires, like Bob has announced he'll retire by the end of 2024. Interesting timing, by the way, it was 7 days before the actual first lawsuit came out in June. Probably knew that was coming. Typically, an attorney will say, hey, I got a lawsuit coming. So he announced his retirement 7 days before that news got dropped. They brushed that under the rug. But typically at NAR, when a CEO retires, is they actually stay on payroll in the 7-figure range for a year or two. Like, their severance lives on after them. So they'll be paying 2 CEOs when they do a CEO transition. I think the big thing to your point here is, if we're going to keep the old guard going, and the old guard existed for decades, it's a good old boys club, whether they've got now a female president-elect coming in or a male. I use good old boys club as a term of, these are the same people they've been recycling year over year. You can go on nowbam.com. We've got an article up that shows the salaries, and you see the same names year after year after year. And you see these 6- and 7-figure salaries just growing and growing and growing. And the agent doesn't understand what they're getting. They don't understand that spending $46 million with Hava's marketing group to come up with one of the worst ad campaigns of all time, by the way, nobody knows that's who we are with an R, what that means. Consumers and mostly agency don't even understand it either. So they've got a hard time bridging the gap. Why are we spending $46 million? The truth is, it's to get more dues so that they can keep the racket going, so to speak. And 100% of that money should be going into fighting buyer agency. We should have a CEO who's talking about that every single day, the antitrust and the DOJ. To me, it looks like NAR's got not just the DOJ, the antitrust lawsuits, but now you got New York Times. You've got agents that are getting a little bit more aware. There aren't too many supporters in the corner that are left. You still have your diehards, and some of those agents have spoken up, recently. But there's got to be a significant amount of accountability. Hey, Jason, where can people find you on IG?
Yeah, so at Jason Haber, hit me up there. Agentsdemandchange.com. Join us. Over 1,000 agents in 5 days have joined us at Agents Demand Change.
Oh,
it's incredible.
Jason, you were just on Fox. We wrote an article on your deal, right? Yeah. All right.
Yes,
cool,
yes.
man. All right. So yeah, you were just on Fox News. Yeah. So there's an article on nowbam.com where you can get all the information that Jason's talking about. He started a why don't you break it down for us?
Sure. So basically, on the New York Times story on rampant sexual harassment at NAR breaks last Saturday. I read the article and I go, okay, this guy will be gone by noon. What, Kenny Parcell, no problem. By noon, I'm checking online, and what do I see? Nothing. Silence. Indifference. And that bothered me. I don't believe in silence or indifference. When good people are silent, everyone else suffers. And so I started just basically speaking out, mostly on Twitter X, and making comments like, this is unacceptable, this needs to change. Started to get a little traction, then started a petition on Sunday. The petition had a few, maybe 5 signatures at first, and then it started to gain momentum. I got a few reporter calls. We started to put some pressure on. I started to reach out to upcoming speakers at the upcoming NAR events, Kurt Warner's people, David Robinson's people, Amy Webb's people. Amy ended up backing out of her speaking slot this week, by the way. And what happens is, all of a sudden we had this network effect where people were like, yeah, this isn't right. And Kenny resigned. Obviously, it was the right thing to do. But what happened then next was it really changed me. Women within NAR, current and former, started to call me private messaged me, reached out to me through a number of different channels, and shared their stories with me. And I got to tell you something, they're sickening. They're heartbreaking. I could read to you. It's the same. And by the way, it's the same story. Not just about Kenny, but about a system that is toxic to its core at NAR. They have covered up. They have deceived. They have lied. They have betrayed the very people who work at the organization. By the way, an amazing and incredible staff that I've come to know very well over the last week. This needs to end, and it needs to end now. Like you called it the Good Old Boys Network, my people call it a cabal. And there's several people in leadership. They cover up. They got each other's back. They brush everything under the rug. And every day I get another story from someone else. And it basically is a riff on the same thing. I reported it and it went nowhere. It's
yeah, you
sickening.
can find that we wrote a story on what Jason's doing. And again, he was on Fox News talking about this, the NAR Accountability Project. You can find that on nowbam.com. Hey, I love, I've been talking about NAR for a long time. And then when this comes out, it makes it quite obvious, you know, that I didn't cover it as closely in June when it was one allegation, but when you have 29, this is the Sean Watson level, when you have 29 allegations, and not just the 29 that were, to your point, in the New York Times expose, but when you go to that New York Times article, you know, I know there's a paywall there, but if you have access to it behind the paywall, we're going to write a story on it. So you don't even have to worry about it. We're writing a story on it with nowbam.com. All the comments under that New York Times article from, like you're saying, that people that reached out to you, commenters that worked at NAR, not the 29 accused. Hey, I'm not one of the 29 accusers, but I can validate. And these were lengthy posts in the comment section of New York Times. So it's 29 plus at this point, if you're digging deeper. And I don't know how the CEO's head doesn't roll. I'm with you on that. Any other organization that has this kind of mess on their hands, a CEO's got to be held accountable. He's a lame duck CEO anyways. He's already announced retirement in 2024. And unless you can prove to me that he's the right guy to guide the agent community through the buyer agency crisis, the DOJ and antitrust lawsuits that are faced down here with us starting in October, unless you can prove and articulate that he's the only person that can lead us through this while we spend $46 million on Hava's marketing group, then I say he's got to go too. Jason, appreciate the call, and brother, go find Jason on Twitter X, and definitely go read the article on nowbam.com about his NAR accountability project. Thank you, Jason.
Stay tuned. We got a lot in the works. So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Jason.
Awesome. All right, two great calls to lead the free format Friday show. The number is in the chat. It's 203.
Also on the banner across the bottom of the screen.
Oh, it's on the banner across the screen. 203-548-0417 is the number. The phone lines are open. Bobby, I don't want to look at your face. If I can go to my iPad here. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Bobby. I think we just dropped off 10 viewers there, Bobby, but that's all right. Thank you very much. Jobs gains eased in the summer months. Big news here this morning. Unemployment increased in August. Employers added 187,000 jobs last month, and then wages rose 4.3% from a year earlier. I'm on the Wall Street Journal. So here's the deal, and why we're talking about this, and we spoke about it earlier in the week. Over the 3 months of June and July, so U.S. employers added 187,000 jobs last month, while payrolls in June and July were revised down to a combined 110,000, the Labor Department said this morning. Over those 3 months, 150,000 jobs were added monthly on average, down from 238,000 on average gain in March through May. So this is actually welcome news to the Fed. They want to see the job market cool. Nobody wants to see it crash because a lot of people get hurt. But the more it cools, the better the chance Jerome Powell and the FOMC have at a soft landing with the economy, as opposed to hard recession, massive job loss. The only thing that can bring home prices down is massive job loss. So a steady uptick on unemployment, now to 3.8%, still very, very low historically. Okay, the unemployment rate at 3.8%, up from 3.5% in July, reflecting that more Americans are entering the labor market. Okay, so this steady increase in unemployment increases the chances that we could actually hit a soft landing. Now, a sharp increase in unemployment would be the only thing that would impact home values in this low inventory environment. That to me is like the one thing that we could, that one headwind that could bring home values down and down by as much as 10% across the board if we had unemployment shoot up in a significant fashion. Here's the chart here from Wall Street Journal. Total non-farm payrolls change from a month earlier. And so you're still seeing, a tick up there, 187,000, but not nearly what we were experiencing before. So we've got now a steadying of a labor market. And in your own business, you may, see this happening the last 30 days. There are more people who are staying with their job. There are more employees who are, not it's speaking the tune that they had 2 years ago when they had, a little bit of government money padding where it's like, they were making all these demands. You have more people looking for that are on the job market like, oh my gosh, I can't actually get the job that I want when it was super available, just a year ago. So changes in the labor market. I think this is actually, as long as it doesn't get out of control with job loss, potentially a good piece of information for a soft landing. I talked about on the hot sheet a few weeks ago. You had a lot of these major employee advertising companies, rather recruiting companies and advertising companies for employers, cutting their staff back. So they're projecting that the job market is going to be slower. They're not going to need as much staff. Call-in number here is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. There it is, 203-548-0417, 203-548-0417. We had two great calls to lead the show. If you'd like to call in, free format Friday, ask about anything at all, feel free to do that. Bobby, do we have any questions from the week that we want to post from the comments that we didn't address earlier in the week?
We certainly do, Byron. Hold on. I'll pull those up
What do you
right now
got?
for
Bobby, the lead producer, we'll call him Bobby 10 seconds since we have a Bobby 10-second delay here today. Here we go, Bobby. Great job. The 1% down payment is everywhere, not just Zillow has it. Yeah, that was my point as well on the 1% down payment when we talked about it here on the hot sheet. This is great marketing from Zillow. I think the biggest thing that agents can take away from Zillow's 1% down payment is how are you marketing the products that you have? They're making noise because they actually have obviously the biggest audience. But from what I'm seeing, they're actually positioning it the best way, this 1% down payment, in their ad campaigns. It's more attractive with the copy and the positioning that they're using. So we could all learn from that in our local markets and, implement something similar on similar products. I agree there are similar products out there, and there have been, quite frankly. Jody from OKC, we have a builder in OKC offering under 5% for financing along with closing costs being covered. So under 5% on the 30-year fix for financing along with closing costs. It's going to continue to be an advantage to be a builder in this low inventory market. There's only 70,000 completed homes right now of new construction. So these are the folks that have some inventory and they've got the advantage to cut down. Think about that, from 7% today. Bob, you can get rid of that slide there if you'd like. From 7% today on the 30-year fixed down to 5% allows a buyer to buy more homes. So builders they haven't overbuilt. They're not in the vulnerable position that they were in 2007, and they've got the ability to cut down these rates. It's gonna be a power position for builders probably for the next couple of years here. And we'll go here to the 30-year fixed. Yesterday we ended at 7.07. So when you're getting at under 5%, that 2% is going to be a significant savings. I'll show you how much in just a second. And then we're at 7.18, by the way, in the Freddie Mac 30-year fixed weekly survey. So the weekly came down just a tick. That was out yesterday. All right. I'll show you exactly how much of a savings that is. I have, and I can drop this chart. I'll drop this in today's daily download on BAMX. BAMX members get access to all of our daily downloads on the hot sheet each and every single day. And if you're not a BAMX member, you can use the code LABOR. Bobby, you should put that on the scroll. Use code LABOR to get 15% off of BAMX. We're doing a little Labor Day special. Code LABOR, get 15% off of BAMX. You get access to all the hot sheet daily downloads. You get the most out of BAM content with our courses and our live streams, and of course, our private community. And you get 25% off of our events like BAM Camp on September 20th. All right, so this is how much. And I'll drop this into BAMX today in the daily download, but this is how much of a difference you would have at 5%, like Jody is saying, some builders are doing, and then the 7% mark. So 7%. Let's do a $3,000 payment. Okay, so 7%, $3,000 payment will get you, and of course, individual, situations are gonna be a little bit different here. Let me erase that. Do a smaller line here, but everybody's individual situation is going to be a little bit different. But we're talking about $450,000 home. So $450K at 7%. Great. Now let's take a look at Jody's talking about 5% or less for builders. So 5% or less on a $3,000 payment. A $3,000 payment is going to get somebody close to 550,000, probably just under, on 5% with the builder. So they can afford $100,000 more of home in Jody's community. And I know Jody OKC price point is much more affordable even on the new construction. But just going off of that $3,000 payment, which might be a little bit more common across the board, generally speaking, a $3,000 payment is going to get somebody a $550,000 opportunity with a builder, as opposed to a $450,000 opportunity on a resale. That is significantly more house at times. Now, listen, the new construction comp to the existing sale, there is oftentimes $100,000 spread in markets between that. But who doesn't want new? Who doesn't want to peel the plastic off of the refrigerator on move-in day? I certainly do. I think people like new, right? So the builders do have the clear advantage there. Hope you guys enjoyed free format Friday. I got a hard stop right now. I'm going to go record Knowledge Brokers podcast with Lisa Chinati. We have a great pod coming for you. Tom Toole is going to be out today, but it'll be Lisa and myself. We're going to dig much deeper into this jobs report that I went through, plus all of the big moves here for the week in the housing market, and how to actually use that to your advantage when you're talking to sellers and buyers in this market. So if you're not subscribed yet, go over to @Knowledge Brokers Podcast, different YouTube channel. Hit subscribe on that. Today's pod with myself and Lisa Chinati will be up at 2:00. We're doing a Knowledge Brokers podcast live at BAM Camp in the morning session. If you're not on BAM Camp yet, we have a link down below. BAM Camp's going to be in Naples, Florida on September 20th. We still have a handful of tickets left for that. BAMX members get 25% off. Of course, to become a BAMX member, use code LABOR and you get 15% off of that. Hope everybody has a really productive Friday. We won't be back on Monday as it's Labor Day and the markets are closed. But we will be back on Tuesday because this is the only live daily housing show on the internet when the markets are open. It's 9:30 on the East. It's 6:30 on the West. We'll see you back here on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. And of course, toodaloo, folks.